The forest beast. The forest had always been quiet at dusk, the kind of quiet that feels like it's holding its breath. People in town said the old logging roads were cursed after the mill closed in '89, but teenagers still drove out there to drink and make out and pretend they weren't scared. Most came back. Some didn't. I was 23, home from college for the summer, working nights at the gas station. My cousin Darren bet me $50 I wouldn't spend the night alone at the old Crown Camp clearing. Same place 3 kids had vanished 11 years earlier. I laughed it off at first. Then I took the bet. I drove my rusted Tacoma down the overgrown spur road just as the sun bled out behind the ridge. The headlights caught pale birch trunks and the occasional flash of eyes. Deer, probably. I told myself it was deer. Crown Camp wasn't much anymore. A concrete slab where the cook shack used to stand, a few rotting pilings, and a fire ring full of broken bottles. I parked, killed the engine, and let the silence rush in. No crickets, no wind, just the soft tick of the cooling motor and my own breathing. I set up a cheap dome tent, built a small fire, and cracked a beer. The plan was simple. Stay awake, scroll my phone until the battery died, then sleep until dawn. Easy $50. Around 10:47 p.m., the first branch snapped. Not close. Maybe 80 yards out, deep in the dark between the trees. I froze, beer halfway to my mouth. Another snap, closer this time, deliberate. Then silence again, thicker than before. I told myself it was a bear. Bears are noisy, clumsy. They don't care if you hear them. Then the smell hit. Wet fur, coppery blood, and something sour, like meat left too long in a warm place. It rolled over the clearing in a wave. My stomach lurched. I stood up slowly, flashlight beam shaking across the trunks. Nothing. I called out, mostly to prove to myself I wasn't afraid. Darren? If that's you, fuck off. You already lost the bet. No answer. Just the forest listening. At 11:19, the fire popped loud, sap in a log, and in that split second of brightness, I saw it. Between 2 cedars, maybe 40 feet away, something tall and wrong. Too tall for a bear. Too thin for a man. Shoulders hunched forward, arms hanging longer than they should. The head was low, featureless in the dark, except for 2 wet glints where eyes should be. It didn't move when the light hit it. It just waited. I dropped the flashlight. It rolled, beams spinning wildly across needles and dirt. When it stopped, the thing was gone. I scrambled backward into the tent, zipping the flap with trembling fingers. Heart hammering so hard I could taste it. I sat there hugging my knees, listening. Nothing for 10 minutes. 20. Then the scratching started. Slow. Methodical. Fingernails, or claws, dragging down the nylon. Not hard enough to tear, just enough to let me know it could. Around and around the tent, patient like someone tracing the outline of a door they planned to open later. I didn't scream. I bit my lip until I tasted blood and tried to breathe quietly. The scratching stopped. Then the tent shook. Not hard. Just a nudge like a big animal testing the weight of the fabric. The poles creaked. Something heavy settled against the far side. I could hear it breathing now. Deep, wet, rattling inhales that ended in a soft gurgle. I whispered, "Please go away." The breathing paused. Then a voice answered. Low, torn, like someone trying to speak around a throat full of gravel. Already here. It wasn't outside anymore. The smell flooded the tent. Rank, choking. Something impossibly large pressed against the ceiling, bowing the nylon inward. I felt the pressure on my chest, on my legs, like the air itself had turned solid. I couldn't move. Couldn't scream. Hot breath washed over my face. I squeezed my eyes shut and waited to die. Minutes passed. Or hours. Time stopped making sense. Then the weight lifted. The smell receded. The forest exhaled. When I finally opened my eyes, the tent was intact. No claw marks. No tears. The fire had burned down to coals. My phone said 3:14 a.m. I stayed inside until the sky turned gray. When I crawled out at dawn, the clearing looked ordinary again. Birds were singing. Squirrels scolded from the branches. My truck was untouched. But on the hood, in a thin layer of dew, were 2 perfect handprints, long-fingered, palm too wide, deeper than any human hand could press in a metal without tools. I drove straight home. Didn't stop for gas. Didn't look in the rear view more than once. Darren never asked for the $50. He just looked at me the next time we met and said, very quietly, "You saw it, didn't you?" I didn't answer. I don't go into the woods anymore. Not even in daylight. Because sometimes when the house is too quiet and I'm trying to sleep, I still smell it. Wet fur, old blood, that sour rot. And I hear the voice again, patient, from somewhere just behind my shoulder. "Already here."